This is Abhishek Goenka, founder and CEO of IFA Global, one of the most trusted brands on FX risk management in India, doing business for 18 years, having done business for hundreds and hundreds of companies. How are you doing today? We receive a lot of inquiries on exporter and importer options. Well, a lot of people we interact are not very comfortable doing option. And what's the reason why? Frankly, if you want to know the truth, most of the people actually lack knowledge on options. Some of them have a mental block or even a blind spot. They understand forwards and futures very easily because the payoffs are very clean and easy to drive. So if you don't understand options and you have been doing forwards, normally the board says why to do options, people don't understand it. We could get into a soup. So let's not do it. Well, I don't blame them. A lot of people feel that it's pretty risky because they have had a baggage of 2008. When options were done, there were options done with high leverage. People didn't understand it, they executed it, and they really didn't know that why were they doing what they were doing. And because of that hangover, and it has been almost like more than 15 years, people still have that memory and they don't want to do it. But the question is that the world has changed, the knowledge has improved, RBI has clamped down the provisions on who can do what they can do and why they are doing the options. So things have changed. I personally remember, sitting with bankers and our clients in 2008 and negotiating on behalf of our clients with the banks. So I have that memory, so I can really understand. But then we have to move forward. Well, if you think about options, and if you ask me, I simply love options. And why do I love options? Because of my experience in the past. We have learned to do options under various scenarios in 2008, 2012, 13, 2018, 2020, and now even at 2022 when the premiums have really gone low. And time and again, we have seen that, options have paid extremely well during extreme circumstances. For example, all these years I mentioned, the markets were extreme and people were confused, fearful, and indecisive. And that's a time when you should do options. Even if 1 year back when euro and pound were crashing, euro went all the way below 1 and pound was also close to parity. People were like, dollar is getting strong and dollar index is going to go to new high, etc. Now, from history, you and I both know if a currency has moved 15-20% in a year, that's not normal, right? So if that happens in a currency like euro or pound, and you have an exposure for imports, then it's a no-brainer you need to cover. But you will not cover because there's always a thing creeping in our mind that the currency can fall down. So why not just do options? I remember during parity levels for all our importers, we did options at 1.03, 1.04 euro. All German imports were covered. And today you look at euro, it's 1.12. In hindsight, it was worry, it was indecision. But today, you look so smart doing those options. And what premiums you paid? 150 pips, 200 pips. So I think it's a great tool. You can use it under extreme circumstances and it works really, really well. For some of the people who have dollar rupee exposures, most of you have. Remember COVID? COVID, the rupee was depreciating from 72 to 76. The forward premiums have gone up to 5 rupees. The offices were closed, the factory were closed. There were cancellation of orders. We didn't know that the world is going to stay or not. And that's the time when people were like, okay, you're getting 76 rupees, 5 rupees premium. You don't want to go and sell a forward because you're already sold so much of forward and you've already hit your hedge ratio. Now that's the time when few of our clients, we had sent this message and few of the clients trusted us. We had a detailed discussion and we did long-term options. What was the payoff? At 76, you were getting 5 rupees premium and you were getting 81 rupees as a forward, but you didn't want to sell forward. We actually did option, got a level at 78 half. Next year, the average rates of rupee was around 72, 73. 5 rupees clean gain. On a $50 million, 5 rupees is almost what? 25 crores. That's the kind of money you made during COVID when everything was shut. Just because you were ready to pay a little premium and capture such a high opportunity when the oil was down all the way to $20, $25. It's a no-brainer. So these kind of opportunities keep coming. But that's the kind of payoff under extreme circumstances in case of options. Now, so because of these experiences that I had had and my team have had, we strictly feel that don't shun it because you don't understand it. It's a beautiful tool if used wisely. Now, once you have decided to do an option, there are a few things you need to consider. First of all, you need to know the objective of the option, whether it's for hedging, whether you are doing it for trading, whether it's for a balance sheet exposure, whether it's a cash flow exposure. So you need to document this very clearly. Also, you need to understand that how will the hedge be accounted from an accounting perspective? How should the premiums be budgeted? What percentage of operating profit should be the premium? And why? And also, you need to understand that how will the MTMs impact your P&L? Whether it should be in the P&L, whether it should go to OCI. Also, you need to understand how do we manage the delta of the option in case you are taking a leverage option. And you need to understand how do we calculate that. So what are the payoffs? You should be extremely clear on what quantity are you doing? What is the impact on the worst case scenario? You don't want any surprises, right? What happened in 2008? So it should be clearly documented, clearly understood, run by the board, run by the finance team. If you need, you hire an expert like us. But then your risk reward, your moneyness, your pricing of the option, etc., everything should be clearly laid off. And you need someone to negotiate with your intermediary or bank also, not just because somebody has come and given you an option, you need to do that. So these things need to be clearly documented and in control. And also you need to understand that now since we are watching this video, I would like to give you some good takeaways. Now, for an exporter, when do you do an option? Forwards work extremely well, but when do you do option? In case you're on the top of the range, obviously the rupee depreciates and you expect the rupee is going to come down and you're sitting on the top of the range. Forwards makes perfect sense. And importers should do more options and exporters should do more forwards. When you're in the middle of the range, typically exporters and importers can both do risk reversals. When you're in the bottom of the range, exporters get panicked. They start selling for 1 year. You shouldn't be doing that. You should take simple put options. And importers should do more of forwards. Now, this sounds pretty logical and intuitive, right? But the question is, how do you know whether you're top of the range, middle of the range, or the bottom of the range? Now, that you can understand with one of the tools we provide is IFA's quant model, where I think we covered one video on this. We have various factors. We backtest it. We also show you the momentum of the dollar rupee. A lot of companies use it. It's very, very useful. Another way of looking at it is vols. Now, dollar rupee vols are mean reverting, and the spot vol correlation in dollar rupee is positive. So if the vols go up, mostly RBI will intervene and the vols will cool down. And that's the time when you should do forward and vice versa. And that's another strategy that we use while deciding which options to do. So to summarize, the team has worked with hundreds and hundreds of companies, dealt with so many option structures time and again for different kind of industries, different kind of business cycles, different type of risk objectives of company, and different type of budgets of premiums. And I would say that in case you have any questions on anything like TARFs, which is something which is new coming in, or barrier options, a lot of banks are giving this also, especially to companies who are having 500 crore plus of net worth. Importers are doing Seagulls, call spreads, put options. When do you want to do it? How you want to do it? What should be the pricing? We have actually backtested a lot of these strategies and seen the payoff. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel again. It will be very useful to you. So the takeaway is don't shun options just because your knowledge is limited or you don't have a past experience, or somebody in the team is saying that it's a weapon for mass destruction. I mean, promoters don't think like that. Promoters want to capture opportunity, and that's what it's a message for me, I being a promoter, to you, that promoters like to take opportunities where it is relevant. They want to understand the risk and return payoff, which you should understand, and also they would like to capture an opportunity. And if you can hire someone to give that knowledge to you, why not? So I would say with every 2-3 years, this kind of opportunities comes in options. Please use it, make a lot of money. And I have personally used it in 2008, 2012, 13, 2018, 20, 22, every 2-3 years. And it's made a lot of money for our clients. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening. And I think there was some interesting takeaways from this last 6, 7 minutes of the discussion. There are very interesting case studies, blogs, and some videos on our YouTube channel, on our website. And please visit them, encourage your teams to learn from them, and subscribe to my channel. I mean, this kind of videos and blogs will keep coming to you every week. Some published Economic Times, some on YouTube channel, and